Tonight, a special edition of World News Tonight. America on the eve of the high-stakes 2024 presidential election. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump delivering their closing arguments. Tonight, what the final ABC News poll now reveals. And the state of the race tonight in the key battleground states. More than 80 million Americans voting already. Now the campaigns and their ground games, the effort to get voters to the polls on Election Day. Vice President Kamala Harris, her final day of campaigning entirely in Pennsylvania, barnstorming the state with 4 stops. Her team knocking on 5 million doors in that state alone. Vice President Harris ending her campaign on an optimistic note, not mentioning Donald Trump by name in the last 24 hours. Former President Donald Trump blitzing 3 battleground states in what he says will be his last campaign, asking, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And continuing the violent rhetoric from his closing days, joking now about reporters at his rallies getting shot. Mary Bruce, Rachel Scott, Rick Klein here on the new poll where this race stands, and John Carl standing by with new reporting, what he's just learned from both campaigns tonight, what they're now saying, how they're feeling about Election Day. Also tonight, the alarming report warning about threats targeting election workers across the country. Authorities taking major steps to protect the vote and the people who count the ballots, including armed guards now, drones, bulletproof glass, and putting the National Guard on standby. Pierre Thomas is here. The other news tonight, the tornado watches as we come on the air. 6 confirmed tornadoes already. Homes across Oklahoma heavily damaged. And now the new tropical storm forming in the Caribbean, the potential track right toward the U.S. The well-known young actor from Dawson's Creek revealing his battle with cancer tonight. The scare on stage, Coldplay's Chris Martin falling through a trap door while performing in concert. And tonight here, the tributes pouring in for music legend Quincy Jones. Behind the scenes at the making of We Are the World. His unforgettable work with so many icons, from Frank Sinatra to Ray Charles to Michael Jackson. Tonight here, Quincy Jones, in his own words.
From ABC News, this is a special edition of World News Tonight with David Muir. Reporting tonight from ABC News Election Headquarters in New York.
Good evening on this election eve. It is great to have you with us here. We are here at ABC News Election Headquarters in New York already. We're in just 24 hours. We will be coming on the air with the first exit polls this time tomorrow night. What voters are saying already. We'll be on the air for hours, perhaps days. We're ready, given how close this election is. The presidential race, Ipsos poll showing Kamala Harris at 49%, Donald Trump at 46%, virtually unchanged in the 3 months since Vice President Harris moved to the top of the ticket. But of course, we'll be watching all night tomorrow night. The race to 270 electoral votes needed to win. And the election will very likely come down to these 7 states. Nevada, the polls, each state virtually tied tonight. You see them right there on the screen. It's going to be a very late night. We have both campaigns covered and new reporting, Mary, election eve. Let me ask you this, because we've seen the early turnout. It's been really spectacular on both sides. Republican supporters of Donald Trump listened to the former president. They went out early this time because he now supports the early vote. So this really does come down to who you can get out on Election Day to add up to those totals. What is the Harris campaign doing? What do they make of the early vote numbers? Are they concerned by how many Republicans have turned out early? It's a big change.
It is, but David, the Harris team tells me tonight.
Rachel Scott also with us here at Election Headquarters tonight. Rachel, really the same question for you that I asked Mary. Does the Trump campaign have a real plan here tomorrow to add to the early vote? It's been impressive on the Republican side, but are these voters who would have come out on Election Day already? Do they plan to add to that tomorrow? What's their plan?
And they're happy with those
points, but Kamala Harris is up 3 in this poll right now, and particularly stark, the lead among women and older women in particular. Harris plus 20 among women 65 and older plus 35. Even among older men, it is Harris plus 2.
Rick Klein with us at the big board. Rick, thanks. Let's bring in John Carl, late reporting from the campaigns. John, that poll could be an outlier. Even the Harris campaign acknowledges that, but they say if they can see that in some of the other states, the swing states, the cross currents that we saw there, then perhaps it's an optimistic